Hello and welcome again to Immigration News and Views. My name is David Nachman. I'm one of the managing attorneys at the Nachman Fulwani Zimochek Law Group. That's the NPZ Law Group. We have offices located in Ridgewood, New Jersey. We also have an office in Midtown Manhattan. And we have offices that are affiliated in Mumbai, India, in Bandra, near the Kula complex. And we also have affiliated offices in Montreal and Toronto, where our Canadian lawyers are today. Before I begin, I'd like to just let everyone know that if you're looking for us on the web, of course, feel free to visit us at www.visaserve.com. That's our main website. We also have a blog site, and we also take advantage of many social media arenas. So if you would like to visit us or learn more about our office, please feel free to do that. So I'm just back, and just probably today is the first day I'm getting over a terrible case of jet lag from my 4-week trip to India. And during that trip, in addition to meeting friends, in addition to meeting family members, and in addition to meeting many clients throughout the country, I had an opportunity to be a participant in a 25-person immigration lawyer delegation, which started in New Delhi in early November and continued throughout the country. We went from New Delhi, we went to Chennai, we went to Goa, which was a little more play than it was work, and for many of you who have been there, you understand what I mean. And then we went north to Mumbai, and actually at that time I also had an opportunity to go to Gujarat. So during this delegation, basically what it was is an opportunity for us to visit the U.S. consulates, and obviously there's not a consulate in Goa, but we visited the U.S. consulate in New Delhi, in Chennai, and in Mumbai. And so what I'd like to do is I would like to present several segments. So this is the first of several segments on my trip to India and what information was provided to me and to the other delegates at our visits to the U.S. consulate offices. So we had an opportunity, first of all, by way of background, we had an excellent opportunity to have a meeting at each one of the consulates, again in New Delhi, in Chennai, and in Mumbai, and they were several tiered. So what I mean by that is there were several things that we did at each U.S. consulate office. So the first thing we did, of course, is we sat down and we meted and we greeted all of the upper level managers at the U.S. consulate, got to know who they were, what positions they had, and what responsibilities each of these individuals had within the functions that they served within the U.S. consulate. Now that alone is an excellent opportunity because it gives us the ability to know who's doing what and who the contact people are. So in the event that we have to resolve any particular issues for our clients in India or at any U.S. consulate in the world, it gives us a framework from which to be able to address the issues. Now, one of the things which was touted quite a bit at each one of those meetings is the issue of what's called transparency. Transparency means that what they're doing is they're trying to make it more clear to the public or to, of course, lawyers, delegations like ours, what exactly is being done when the visa process is being undertaken at the U.S. consulate. Now, obviously, here on the state side, we have a pretty good sense of what's going on, especially when we go to visit the service centers, such as the Vermont Service Center, the California Service Center, the Texas Service Center, which I myself have done in the past. So I have a much better idea of what exactly is happening in the procedures here stateside. But of course, abroad, there's a bit of a mystery that has always surrounded the visa process abroad. And so, again, what they're trying to do, and I think that in light of the fact that they hosted the delegation, they are seeking to allow for more transparency in the process and allow us to understand what the visa office is doing. So transparency was one of the main issues that was discussed when we were there. Now, as I mentioned to you before, there were several tiers to what we had done. The first tier, of course, was the meet and greet, and that, again, was important because we were able to know who the people are, what the functions were, and what the responsibilities are. We were then taken on a tour of the visa line. So we were basically taken through a day in a life of what an individual who would be visa processing would actually be doing if they showed up at the U.S. consulate. And of course, everybody knows that the first thing that you would do is go online, make an appointment, fill out a DS-160 or the forms for an immigrant visa. So of course, you have immigrant visa processing and you have non-immigrant visa processing. And we got to see both sides of it when we were at the U.S. consulate office. When the individual goes to the U.S. consulate, then of course they are greeted by an officer. They're put into various lines and they're ushered through the U.S. consulate office through the lines. So we got to see the lines that the individuals were actually going through and how the biometric identifiers were used to ensure that the individuals who were showing up at the consulate were actually the individuals who also, they were also the individuals who went and had verified their information at the other posts. So that was the first tier of the tour. The second tier of the tour was that we sat down in working groups. So we had an opportunity to sit down in working groups with the officers, with upper level management, and we had an opportunity to ask them questions about particular issues which were burgeoning in our practices. But in addition to that, they also expressed an interest in finding out from us what issues we were confronting with their services. So I found that there was a tremendous amount of desire for give and take in communication, unlike what we had seen in the past. Now, I've been visiting the U.S. consulate offices in India for about 2 years now, 3 years, and so I've seen a dramatic change in the philosophy of the U.S. consular officers there, and now a desire for them to improve the services that they were providing to the individuals. And of course, bear in mind that they're trying to improve these services, knowing that they're also providing a tremendous number of visa applications on a daily basis. So each one of these U.S. consulate offices is providing anywhere between 800 to 1,000 visa interviews per day. And that boils down to about 3 minutes per person. And I'll get to that in a moment. The final tier of what we were doing, which I thought was the most valuable, was that we had an opportunity to socialize with the officers at the consulate. Socialize over drinks, masala chai coffee, or or some kind of beverage, or actually at the U.S. consulate in Mumbai they serve samosas, and we had an opportunity to sit and talk socially and then over lunch with the U.S. consulate officers themselves. So we had an opportunity to speak to them, find out a little bit about where they're from, where they were posted previously, which I believe has a lot to do with the ability to understand how they view the world. Because some officers who have been to high fraud unit type of consulate offices come with certain preconceived notions about fraud, how fraud investigations should work. So this is very helpful for us to understand when we know what the officer's background is, and also what motivated the officers to take up the positions in the U.S. consulates abroad. Interestingly, probably our viewers would like to know that many of the officers are lawyers themselves. And some of them are immigration lawyers. In fact, at some of the consulate offices that we visited, they're actually former AILA lawyers. So those are American immigration lawyers who have actually went over to the U.S. Department of State and taken up positions in the U.S. consulates abroad. So it's good for us to know that individuals who were on our side are now on the other side, and obviously doing their job on the other side, but they have a unique understanding, of course, of how visas are processed. And should be processed, and also a different way to interpret the Foreign Affairs Manual if they need to do that. So those were the visits to the U.S. consulate, and actually what I'm going to do then in the next segment is talk a little bit about some of the philosophical policies that are in the consulates and some of the information that they wanted us to share with the public at large. So with that, thank you very much for tuning in today. We look forward to being of assistance to you, your friends, your family. If there's anyone who has any questions at all with regard to consular processing, either in India or anywhere else in the world, please feel free to reach out for any of the immigration lawyers here at the NPZ Law Group. Thanks very much for tuning in. Bye now.